I'm just a picky bitch. It is an unfortunate fact about me.
It's time for the 13 Nights of Saraween.
Hey besties, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be the start of a video series I've been thinking of doing for quite a while. The concept of this series is that I'm going to be having all of my booktube friends send me a clip of them telling me 3 books that they think that I should read. They have full reign over the 3 books that they tell me to read. It can be books that they just really want to get my opinion on, books that they think that I would like, books that they think that I wouldn't like. Maybe they're just sending it to me to bully me. I don't know. They are allowed to pick whatever books they want. I'm going to be calling this series TBR Takeover because I thought that that was just a fun little alliteration that surprisingly no one else on booktube has used yet. I've seen this concept done by a few other booktubers. I feel like Meg with Books, Katie Colson, Jordaline, a few people like that have done this before, but I just wanted to join in. And so our first lovely guest that's going to be sending me recommendations is Riley from Riley Marie. She and I have been friends since 2015 at the very start of my channel. She's actually a huge reason why I got some subscribers at the very start because I did a readathon that she was hosting and she shouted me out in a video, and then we slowly but surely built up our friendship, and now she's someone that I text regularly and I really enjoy her book taste, so I'm really excited to be reading books that she recommends. I also thought that Riley's episode of TBR Takeover would be a great start to the 13 Nights of Saraween. This is day 1 of me posting a video every day for 13 days leading up to Halloween. It is a play on the 13 Nights of Halloween, which was a thing that Fox Family used to do, and then I think it was ABC Family as well. It's just been a long standing thing. I think Freeform even does it now. That channel has been through a lot of changes, but if you know, you know. It's something that I really always cherished in childhood, is just like watching spooky films every day, different things that they were hosting. And so I was like, why not do that video concept myself? So yeah, I've actually already reacted to Riley's picks. So I'm gonna go ahead and insert that clip now, and then we'll come back and talk about the books that I've been reading. I actually have to leave for the airport in literally 2 minutes, but I've been really wanting to know what books that Riley picked out for me. So I was like, let me find out the TBR before I go to the airport so that maybe I can start some of these books. I'm going to LA for the next few days to hang out with Elias and Monica. So I was just thinking maybe I could get my TBR going while I'm out in LA and vlog some of it while I'm there. So let's just get into this. I literally have to leave for the airport in like 2 seconds, but let's react to Riley's video that she sent me. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I have not watched this at all. She sent it to me on August 23rd. Today is like September 23rd. It's been like a full month and this has just been sitting in my email, and I'm so excited to see what books she wants me to read. I'm gonna guess that Sword Heart is on this list because that has been like her all-time favorite book this year. I really feel like she put that on the list.
Hey Sarah, so I have 3 books here that I'm gonna recommend to you. I feel like there's a good chance you will like all of these. So I have 1 horror, 1 thriller, and 1 dark romance. And all of them I gave 5 stars.
Okay, so she didn't put Sword Heart on this list because I did actually ask her for horror, thriller, and dark romance. I think I requested that because I'm gonna be doing this vlog for October for like Saraween. So I don't think she put Sword Heart on this list, but I probably should read Sword Heart because she loves it so much.
So we'll start with the horror book. I had to pick from my queen, my favorite author of the moment, and that is
T. Kingfisher. She's gonna say T. Kingfisher.
Is T. Kingfisher. I checked your Goodreads and it doesn't look like you've read any of her books, so that needs to be changed immediately. So I'm gonna be recommending you the first book that I read by her and kind of what started my whole obsession.
Okay, my guess is it's gonna be These Hollow Places.
And that is The Hollow Places.
I knew it. I knew it. I am a Riley stan. I always know what she's reading. Well, I don't always know what she's reading, but I remember certain books that she reads, and so I'm smart. Also, please excuse my bangs in this clip. I got my hair cut the other day, and the girl who cut my hair did not know how to give me bangs, and so my curtain bangs are struggling, so please ignore that, and they're kind of sweaty looking.
So this is a horror about this woman who is working in this antique store, and she finds this hole in the wall that leads to this abandoned hallway that shouldn't exist. She explores the hallway that should not exist and discovers really crazy things. What I really love about T. Kingfisher's writing is that she's able to combine humor humor and horror, and she does it in a really great way. So that is my first recommendation. The next one is a thriller that I am pretty confident to say you're gonna like this because you liked another book from this author, but I had to recommend it to you because it's the last book that I read and it's currently the only thing that I'm thinking about, and that is The Last Housewife.
Oh, I'm so excited to read this. She knows that I love Ashley Winstead. She knows it, and she told me that this was really good. I know it's about a woman in a cult. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
By Ashley Winstead. I felt like since you were one of the main reasons I read In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, I had to then return the favor of recommending this book to you. This one is about a woman trying to take down a cult that she escaped a long time ago. It's about reclaiming shame and guilt and trauma and taking down powerful men. We love to see it. And then my last recommendation is a dark romance. That is going to be Lotus by Jennifer Hartman.
This TBR is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. She knows that I liked Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. She really put this together in a very thoughtful way. She was like, what is Sarah gonna like? She's onto this. She's onto this.
Once again, I feel like you're really gonna like this because I know you liked Still Beating, and I feel like Jennifer Hartman is sort of the area of dark romance that you would like. A lot of dark romance I think is crazy and not really your thing. So I feel like Jennifer Hartman is a safe recommendation for you. But
we were literally texting recently and I was telling her about some of the dark romance I'd heard about on TikTok, and I was like, I can't believe people read that. Like, that's crazy. And she was like, that's kind of like what the genre is about. Like, it's meant to be taboo. Like, I don't think that that's that crazy. And I was like, perhaps I'm just too vanilla. Perhaps it's not for me. So she's smart. She's smart. I did like the other book by Jennifer Hartman, so there's a good chance I'll like Lotus. I don't know what Lotus is about though.
This is such an amazing romance about this guy who was held captive for 22 years since he was a little boy, and he finally escaped and is now trying to navigate this entirely different new world, and he is reconnecting with his childhood best friend. It deals with a lot of really dark topics, but it also has like some lighthearted, fun, cute moments. I loved the romance in here. So those are my 3 recommendations for you. I hope you like all of them. If not, I don't think we can be friends anymore. But thanks for asking me to do these recs for you.
Thank you so much to Riley for making that TBR for me. I'm so excited to start it. I think I'll probably start with Lotus, maybe? I think I'll start with that book and then we'll go on from there. I'm excited. Also, I'm kind of late for the airport. So, I've actually already almost finished 2 entire books. And there's only 3 books in this vlog, so I guess I'm not a very good vlogger because I didn't get a lot of footage of me doing said reading. But I was in LA for a week, so a lot of that reading was happening while I was doing things. I was visiting Elias. I think I already mentioned that earlier in the vlog. But yeah, that was a good time. And I first read Lotus by Jennifer Hartman. That book, flawless. Riley's taste really never misses. I mean, occasionally we don't agree about books. I feel like there are a couple of things that we don't agree on, but overall I feel like this girl knows how to pick a book. So I'd already read a book by Jennifer Hartman, like she mentioned. I read, I think, Still Beating, that's what it's called, and I really liked it. And this is kind of a spin-off book of Still Beating because the main character, Oliver, in this book was kidnapped and he's come back. He's like 30 now, and he actually was mentioned in Still Beating because Still Beating is also about kidnapping. Jennifer Hartman is just really into the kidnapping trope. I don't know if that's a trope that is commonly used, but she be using it in her dark romance. But I love this. Oliver was just such a sweet baby angel. As far as dark romance goes, I feel like a lot of people actually could read this because it's not quite as traumatic as Still Beating was. Still Beating had like on-page like sexual assault and a lot of things that you see in dark romance or taboo romance. But in this one, the kidnapping is all sort of in the past, and Oliver's background with it is not quite as traumatic as the characters in Still Beating, which that has to do with like serial killer, and it's just like, it's a dark romance for sure. So this one was definitely more about like the recovery of Oliver coming back after he's escaped from the bunker that he was kept in for literally like 20 years, over 20 years I think. And so then it is dual POV between him and Sydney, the female love interest, and I loved it. I loved it. It was so sweet. It was one of the sweetest romances where I was like genuinely shipping the characters, and I really liked both of them. I definitely liked Sydney less than I liked Oliver, but that sometimes happens when I read female characters. I don't know. There's just this thing about like authors writing female characters where they're just like supposed to be quirky and different. And I feel like Sydney had a little bit of that, but overall I still really liked her. And I loved their romance. I loved that they just always held each other in their hearts. And I loved Oliver's perspective on things because while he was in the bunker, he read a lot of books and he's really educated. So he doesn't like have like a childlike mind, but because he doesn't have a lot of life experiences, he's very honest and very forward with everything that he does. And so he's always like telling Sydney exactly how he feels, and it's just so sweet. It's just I feel like I'm not being very articulate talking about this book, but basically it was so good. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars because again, it wasn't like perfect. Like there was some stuff in the writing where I was like, oh, it's not like the best writing ever, but overall I really liked the twists, I liked the turns, I liked where it was going. I would say you can read this if you don't typically read dark romance. You could probably read this if you're okay with the concept of kidnapping and like trauma. I wouldn't recommend it if you don't like those kinds of things, but like if you're like a thriller reader, for example, I think that you could get away with reading this versus with Still Beating because there's a lot of sexual assault in it. I could see that being a no-go for people, but I really liked this. I liked all the characters. Again, I'm not being very eloquent talking about this and I apologize for that, but overall I just feel like Riley picked a banger. Like she knew what I liked, like she knew. Again, like she said in her clip, I don't think all dark romance is for me particularly because I typically like the love interests to be like healthy people. And what I liked about Oliver and Sydney is that they were trying really hard to, you know, be healthy people making good decisions. Sydney definitely like needed some work at points, but she overcame it. The only thing I'll say about Jennifer Hartman's books that I don't love is that she loves to put an epilogue where the main characters have children. That happened in Still Beating as well, and I just don't like children, and I don't really care if people have babies or have families. That's just like not for me. But I could see a lot of other readers thinking that was sweet and romantic. But yeah, Oliver was just, he was an angel. He was truly an angel, and his like worldview and just like how he thought of love and like the way that he held Sydney in such high regard was just so sweet and so precious. Also the sex scenes were very good. Very good. Kind of had that trope of like one of the people being like less experienced, the other one like teaching them kind of, but the other one being like kind of good at it still. Like I liked it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was good. So that's kind of where I landed on that. I'm sorry that I didn't really like vlog me reading it. I started it on the plane to LA and then I read it a little bit while I was there and then I finished it when I got home. So I didn't really like vlog any of that, but it was really good. So the next book that I've moved on to is These Hollow Places, The Hollow Places, Those Hollow Places, Some Sort of Hollow Places by T.K. Fisher? How am I butchering this title on the author? T.K. Fisher? Kingfisher? What is her name? Okay, I looked it up. It's The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. I don't know why. I literally just had a stroke like trying to remember the title and name of that author. But I am really liking this. I am almost done. I think I have about an hour left of the audiobook and I am enjoying it. This is very different than any other horror book that I have read. It has a lot of humor in it and I really like the main character. I can't remember what her real name is, but everyone in the book calls her Carrot because it's like a nickname. I feel like her name's like Carol or something. I don't know what her real name is, but they call her Carrot. And I just really like her point of view. It's in first person and she's so funny. So even though there's like really spooky, like creepy shit happening, she always has a sense of humor and I just really like that coming through. I also really like the way that she thinks through everything in the horror. Like, so basically her uncle owns this museum and she's moved in with her uncle because she's going through a divorce. And so while her uncle is away getting like a surgery, she discovers a hole in the wall that leads her into like this other world that's like really creepy. And so there's this other guy, Simon, that goes with her because he works at like the coffee shop next door and they're like besties. And so they go together and it's sort of like their journey, like trying to figure out what's going on that other side. And so while Carrot is like kind of working through everything in that world, she is really thinking about it logically. So what I like about it is that even though there's a lot of unexplained horror elements that you're never probably gonna get an explanation for, which is really common in this genre, I don't mind it because she is thinking a lot the way that I would be thinking if I was in this scenario. And I'm just really enjoying the kind of humor. It kind of uplifts the mood, but there's still like an eerie vibe to it. And I can just tell that this book is not necessarily going to end in a way that will benefit our heroine. Like, I'm feeling like the horror is gonna get the best of her just because that's how horror books always are. But I'm really enjoying it. Like, it's so good. Like, the whole time I've been like, is this a 5-star read? I think it might be a 5-star read because there's nothing about it that I haven't liked. Like, I don't know, I might need to read more T. Kingfisher. Like, she's just like the vibe, like she is the girl. Anyway, that's where I am so far in my reading. I'm actually going to spend the next like 2 hours doing my nails. I do my nails at home. I use like these like semi-cured gel nail strips. I don't know if you've ever seen those on like Instagram, but I do them, and I had some pop-offs like while I was in LA, so I need to redo my nails, and so I'm actually going to break out my first Halloween set. I have some really cute ones, so maybe I'll vlog a little bit of me doing my nails and me listening to the book, and then we'll go from there.
Simon rubbed the eye that may or may not have belonged to his dead twin. Skill patch is fine. It was at about 4 in the morning when I went and checked. Good. The bell over the door chimed as it opened, and 2 tourists came in. You could tell they were tourists because the first words they spoke were, "Isn't this place cute?" One does not talk about rat infestations in front of the customers. One woman had a t-shirt that said, "World's Greatest Grandma," and the other was wearing a red hat.
Okay, I have finished both my nails and The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher, and honestly I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I really liked it. I loved the way it went. It was not a traditional horror. Like, I felt like it wasn't as scary as some horror tends to be, but it still had a lot of the unexplained and sort of, well, you'll just like never really understand the mythology of it, which I think is pretty common for horror. I feel like lore is just something that like is never really supposed to make sense in that genre, but I really liked it overall. Like, I just genuinely, like, it was a 5-star reading experience. I really enjoyed it. I loved the narrator. I loved both the narrator of the audiobook and also the character that was in her POV. Like, I loved everything about it, and I liked the side characters. Like, it was good. Riley is giving me nothing but bangers. So now we're gonna move on to the last book. Okay, so I'm over halfway through The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead, and this, my friends, is another banger. Riley knows how to pick them. She knows me. She knows what I like. This honestly is better than In My Dreams to Hold a Knife. Like, I loved that book. I gave it 5 stars. I will say, if you are one of the people who found yourself not enjoying In My Dreams to Hold a Knife, I think you might like this one more. I mean, I don't know you personally, so maybe that's not true, but I could see someone liking this book a little more than that one. But they're both phenomenal, in my opinion, as far as thrillers go. I am just eating this up. Like, it's so good. Ashley Winstead really knows how to write, and Riley really knows how to pick out books for me. I think I need to read more books about cults because I'm really fascinated. It's really interesting. Also, as someone who was like in a really controlling religion for like a decade of my life, I think I can find it interesting even on a personal level. Like, obviously this is like more intense than what I experienced, but overall it's just a fascinating topic, and I really like the main character. I like the true crime podcast element. I'm just really enjoying it. But yeah, I'm actually cooking dinner right now. I'm making this like egg roll in a bowl thing that I saw on TikTok. Basically, you take some sort of slaw, I use broccoli slaw, and then you use like ground pork or ground chicken or ground beef, and then you just like mix it all together. And then I'm gonna put it over rice and put sriracha on it. And it's really tasty. I've had it once before. I made it with ground pork before. But yeah, I'm gonna keep listening to the book, and then I'll check back in with you guys when I finish it. But it's so good. It's so good.
We know the Bible is nothing if not allegorical. What does the devil stand for? Selfishness. That's what drew Eve to pluck the fruit and take the bite.
Okay, so I finished The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead, and I have to say, besties, I did not end up loving it quite as much when I finished it. I still really enjoyed it. I'm going to be giving it 4 stars, but I know I initially said that I thought I liked it more than In My Dreams to Hold a Knife, but now that I've reflected and when I saw where the twists were going, I actually don't feel that way anymore. I still really enjoyed it. I liked the main character. I liked the intrigue. I liked the suspense. I liked the cult, but overall, I think that In My Dreams I Hold a Knife was just more compelling for me, especially on the second half. This one felt a little convoluted towards the end, I would say, and yeah, overall still very good. Riley still knows how to pick a banger to read. I feel like me saying Riley can pick a banger is my catchphrase in this video, but this basically just proves that Riley has impeccable taste. So if you're not already subscribed to her, you should go do that. Overall, I would say that this video was a complete hit. Riley really knows how to pick them. I gave Lotus 4 stars, The Hollow Places 5 stars, and then The Last Housewife another 4 stars, which for me is a milestone because I don't frequently read 3 books in a row that I give 4 or 5 stars. I'm just a picky bitch. It is an unfortunate fact about me. But Riley, she just gets me. She understands me. She knows what I'm gonna like. But that pretty much brings me to the end of our very first episode of TBR Takeover. Let me know down below if there are any booktubers that you would like to see me do this with, and maybe I can get that started. I definitely have a few people in mind that I'm friends with that I can reach out to. So if you have anybody that you would like to see, just let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.